Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, or guten Tag. That's about the limit of my German. Today, we're going to be doing a little bit different things, and we're going to be trying to do our usual group flight that we do every couple of weeks, but we're going to make it a little bit interesting, and we're basically going to be introducing it with airliners as opposed to trying to do it with more conventional general aviation planes. So that should definitely make things a little bit more interesting for us today. So one thing that I did say last time is I said this is going to be kind of a viewer's choice as far as where we're going to be taking off and landing from. When I last asked that question, quite a few folks were mentioning the fact that they'd like to do something in Central Europe. That's another reason why we changed our time of day to be 11 o'clock in the morning, from my time anyway, and a little bit earlier than our usual 8 o'clock in the afternoon my time, because again, to give everybody an opportunity to kind of join us for it. So when I was speaking, I was basically said, you got to try something kind of in the middle of Europe, something along those lines. Locally, that's going to be about 4 o'clock, which means, of course, when we do decide to go ahead and land this darn aircraft, we're going to find ourselves kind of in an interesting spot. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn things over to everybody who's in our nice little live chat there and ask them where should we take off from and where should we land. So I'll go ahead and post that message. Where should we take off from and where should we land? Yes, I'll definitely check that out. Oh, by the way, for those of you who are looking for the ability to join us on our flight today, one thing you're going to be wanting to do is you're going to make sure you go up to your little connection paces. You're going to set that to East USA. And when you come over to flight connections, you just need to make sure all players are selected. You don't need any of the air traffic here, because it's just going to complicate things. I'm going to leave live weather on today, again, to make things interesting, so you can kind of walk through all of our different pieces here as far as that goes. Okay, so I'll give everybody a couple minutes here. While that's going on, I'm going to go ahead and get everything kind of taken a look at on my 787 here and make sure we're ready. This is one of the deluxe aircraft that comes along with the nicer version of Flight Simulator. I kind of like it, although I find it a little bit on the light spot. Let's take a look. Live liveries. It looks pretty good for me. Weight and balance. I'm not 100% sure how much fuel we're going to be carrying as far as today goes, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. Failures, obviously we don't want any failures or anything like that. ATC options, I'm going to make sure heavy is going to be attached because we're going to be a relatively heavy aircraft. Okay, I'm just kind of waiting to see if anybody has got any suggestions as far as where we should take off and land from. Otherwise, I'll probably get creative on my own here. Start experimenting with some different possibilities. Let's see, if we set that as departure, if we do something like that, then everybody likes to do Innsbruck, which is very, very popular. We could do something like that. That's a relatively short flight. We could come down here, of course, if we want to come out of Lerp. That's going to be a little bit shorter of a flight. We could do something kind of like that, which is going to be a pretty short flight as well. And it's about 43 minutes. That's not too bad. We could come out of Italy, but again, we're doing Austria today, and I'm not seeing anybody making any suggestions, so I guess we're just going to have to kind of go with it today. So we'll go ahead and do, let's do one of these. We'll do LOWI to Innsbruck. I had a feeling. Hey, there we go. We got it. So we're going to do a flight that looks like this today. So we're going to be taking off from Innsbruck, and we're going to be flying all the way over to Schweizhout, which is over here in the eastern side of Austria there. Berlin? I think Berlin's going to be a little far. Let me go ahead and take a look real quick. I got to find Berlin here. Where's Tempelhof? Let me just take a look real quick. This is Tegel right there. If I set that as departure, we get something that looks like, and we're going to LOWI. Okay, I'm starting to get some comments now. We're going to go ahead and change my plan here. Set as arrival. Ooh, that's a bit of a flight there. Oh, that's a long flight. Yeah, this might be a little bit much for an afternoon. Of course, we could always speed up time. I'm going to Klagenfurt. Looking around for it. I'm not seeing it. We can check Frankfurt, though. Why not? Let's try that. Hey, now we're in business. Is everybody cool with EDDF to LOWI? All right. I think this is a pretty good flight. The only concern, though, is landing at Innsbruck with the 787 is going to be a little bit true. Yeah, LOW is Vienna, correct. Let's see, Berlin to... like I said, I'm going to kind of stay on this side of things. Okay, let's stick with this because I think this will be fun. All right, so inside the Flight Simulator, we have some really powerful tools to go ahead and automatically pre-calculate our flight here. By the way, for anybody who's curious where we're starting, we're going to be starting up here at Frankfurt, Maine. This is Echo Delta, Delta Foxtrot. We'll be seeing you there in just a few minutes. Basically, what we're going to want to do is I'm going to find myself a nice safe parking spot. The wind's going to be coming kind of in this direction. I'll go ahead and grab this one right here and set that as my departure. I think this will be a pretty good flight. This is going to be challenging, especially trying to land this gigantic airplane at this little tiny airport. But again, we'll find it. Okay, so we're going to be doing high altitude airways. We're only going to be traveling about 202 nautical miles. So we'll be fine. I've tried it. It works fine. So basically what we're going to do is we're only going to be traveling 202 nautical miles. It's going to take us about 65, 70 nautical miles to get to 36,000 feet. So I don't think we want to go too high today. So I'm actually going to go over to my nav log. I'm going to dial this down significantly. I'm actually only going to do 28,000 feet. Actually, we'll do 27,000 feet because remember, we're traveling to east. Well, one thing that I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to go pop over to my actual tools that I usually use for the purposes of doing these plannings. I'm going to go pop over to Opera real fast here. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and go over to SimBrief and go ahead and try this out. So we're going to be doing this incredibly absurd flight. Again, we'll be missing everybody at EDDF here, too. EDDF. And we'll be chilling all the way to LOWI, which is, that might be dangerous. But, I've got a pause button if I need it. Everything else is set. I've set up on my departure time. I've scheduled flight time. I've got a really nasty looking flight plan ready to enter into our little computer a little later on. That's got to be crazy. Scroll down. It looks pretty good to me. I'm going to go ahead and generate my OFP. And for those of you who will be joining us, I'll be providing everybody with our waypoints and all that critical information in just a minute. Ooh, boy, look at that flight. That's pretty intense. That's very intense, actually. As a matter of fact, I think that's too intense. I'm actually going to go back to edit flight real quick. I'm going to scroll down here, and I'm just going to enter the waypoints that came right out of the actual flight simulator. Is that have fun? That's cute. I like that. All right, I think that's going to be a lot shorter of a flight. Okay, didn't actually recognize that one waypoint. So HAFUN does not exist in that older version, so I'll go ahead and cancel that out, analyze the route. Looks good. Let's go ahead and regenerate that flight plan. Again, I don't want to take too much time doing this, so we can actually get to the flying part. All right, so that looks pretty darn good. Let's go ahead and copy the critical information we need to know now. Coming up here, it recommends a 29,000 foot. So my estimation was actually pretty darn good. I said 27,000 foot. 29,000 feet. Go ahead and adjust that real quick. It's recommending to do a weight of, let's see here, 23855 as far as weight goes. What do we got? We got way more than that. We don't need that much fuel in this thing. We'll go ahead and reduce that a little bit. Let's see, that's still quite a bit of fuel on board. That's 11,973, and we need 23,000. Yeah, it's going to be plenty of fuel. Go ahead and close like that. Taking a look real quickly. We need to scroll down to see what they're recommending as far as runways goes. Go ahead down there. This is a great website. Looks like we're using 7 right for takeoff, and we're going to be landing on runway 8. That's bad news. That's going to be extremely sketchy for us. So again, we'll try to do it as kind of, take it as it comes kind of a thing. Okay, with that information preset and everything ready to go up here, let's go ahead and dial in the last couple of details. Again, we're going to be using runway 8 for a takeoff here. I'm not going to bother dialing that in here. On this side of things, we're going to go ahead and select our RNAV for 8, which is, like I said, going to be extremely dangerous. You can see already visually what this is going to look like for us trying to come in. But again, hey, we're going with the crowd wanted kind of thing like that. I don't think we're really going to need an approach procedure here, but I'm going to take a look at this one real quick because I know that this one is going to bring us just a little bit wider, giving us a little bit more room to go ahead and proceed with our descent here. So for anybody who's kind of following us along at home, make sure you pick something from Echo Delta Delta Foxtrot, any gate. Again, we're going to be using 8 right for a runway. Departures, we don't need a departure procedure. I'm not worried about it. Arrival, we're going to be doing Innsbruck, which is going to be a nightmare because it's so short. We're going to be using the X-Ray Echo Bravo India 1 Bravo all approach, and we're going to be using RNAV for 8Y. Altitude is going to be 29,000 feet. Oh boy, everybody ready? Let's do it. All right, go pop over the chat, see how things are going. Try to. Server, by the way, somebody just asked, now I can get back to this. We're in Eastern USA. Oh boy, this is, I think I can do it. I think I can do it. With the 787 being that lightweight, I think I might be able to get away with this. But again, I'm not going to count on anything here. While that's going, of course, I'm going to go ahead and get EDF. I'm going to do a departure airport diagram. I'm just doing this a quick little search on my computer. This is basically the exact same way I do it normally. The nice thing is, I'll go ahead and call this up so you folks can take a look at what I'm looking at while that's loading, because again, that loading screen's fun, but not as much fun as this white piece of paper. So if I go ahead and zoom in a little bit, I just poked around in Google, and we have a nice little trip kit for here, and this provides us with all the critical information that we need to know about this given runway. And that's all pretty useful stuff, but that's not really what I want. You have all your departure procedures. Again, I've done some pretty solid videos explaining what all this goofy stuff means. And what I'm really looking for is the parking spot so we can identify the correct runway. Ah, here it is. Delightful. Okay, let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. All right, now if I recall correctly, we are going to be parking on the right side of all this. And we're going to be using this runway right, I actually can't see it, it's upside down. This is usually what I like to do is print them out before trying to do this. But again, we're going to be using this one right here. Nice. Okay, looks good. Just a moment will be nice and loaded. I'll see how everybody is doing in the actual chat here. I'm using this Vanilla 787. Jose Side Projects just asked that, so we're going to try that out. Good morning, Falcon Lover X. Of course, if it's the afternoon, good afternoon instead. Let's go ahead and take a look. Everybody else is good. Again, if you're joining us, you're going to be Echo Deco Delta Delta Foxtrot. Feel free to start on the runway. It's not going to be the end of the world if you do that. I don't think it's going to give us too much trouble anyway. Okay, let's go ahead and now put that away. We'll go ahead and do our little navigation craziness in just a minute once this finishes loading. I get the feeling this is going to be a relatively large load. I have quite a fast computer, but apparently it's not fast enough. Okay, here we are. Oh man, look at this. Oh, this is going to be fun. Oh boy. Oh, by the way, I have turned on nameplates today, so anybody who does join us will be able to see who's sitting there. Sitting there, I'm just taking a look at the runway, trying to identify where I am versus the runway versus where I am over on this side of things. And I can see my prediction was actually fairly accurate. I'm basically sitting in the bottom right corner. So that's actually going to make it really, really easy getting myself onto the main runway. I basically just have to go straight and take a left, and I'm going to get myself over there real quickly. So while that's going, let's go ahead and get this aircraft rolling. It's going to be a pretty easy procedure on this particular one. That's one of the things I love about this aircraft. Pop up to the battery switch. You're going to tap that on. You're going to want to snap the APU into the on position to start. Normally in the real world, you have to sit there and leave it on there for a while. It goes clink, and all of a sudden it starts to fire up. If you're interested in the APU's performance, there's a handy-dandy page down here that can kind of do all that stuff. For those of you who do not have the 787, I highly recommend taking either the CJ, which works really well. The Airbus is pretty good for this too, especially if you've taken the few minutes to go ahead and dial that in. For those of you who like to try to follow me around, it's going to be kind of an interesting experience for you, but again, we're going to make the best of whatever we kind of got there. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so the aircraft's APU should be all zoomed up right now. I'm just confirming to make sure my numbers make sense. Looks pretty good. Alan asked what graphics card. I have it's a GeForce 3080. Just taking a look real quickly. What time and weather? Let's take a look. I'll call that up for you real quickly. I have live everything. So it's 5 o'clock at night, and the weather's actually this. But since you mentioned it to me, watch this. We said, what, 11:05, something like that? Close enough. But I'm going to leave the weather the way it is to make things interesting for me. All right, going to go ahead and close that out, look around. Oh, man, it is so much nicer outside. I'm glad weather in Europe can just change at the snap of a finger. Love it. Okay, let's go ahead and come back down here. Make sure everything's all set. Make sure we've got all the controls. And we have just frozen Microsoft Flight Simulator. Okay, that's a bit of a tricky situation to finally find yourself in. And we're all set. Problem solved. I think we just loaded in another aircraft. Looking around real quickly. Yeah, I have a feeling that's exactly what happened. And there is our runway 7 left. We're using 7 right, which is going to be over there. EDDF. Okay, now we're good to go. All right, let's get this thing started. Hooking up here, now that we've got our APU going, we're going to go ahead and turn on the lights to let everybody know we're about to get this thing rolling. Going to go ahead and turn on our fuel pumps, making sure everything works. Looking pretty good, looking pretty good. While that's getting going, I'm going to go ahead and start the engines on this thing. Super duper simple. You just turn those 2 switches. Go above your head. We're going to go ahead and confirm that both of these are off. I'm going to click them both on. And that's all you have to do to get this thing started. While that's rolling, I'm going to come over to my FMS down here. This is definitely a simplified version of this FMS, but I'll take it. I'm going to go to here, our reference airport. Normally you'd go ahead and dial in where you are, but that's not relevant. You'll see why in a second. But you do want to copy the GPS position to the IRS position page so that you can make sure that all works. Going to route, you can already see EDDF has already been selected, and you can see LOWI as our destination. If I actually go to the next page real quick, you can see each and every one of these. They have all these different pages. Thanks, Alan. I try, man. I've been doing these for years, and it's fun that I can finally bring new people into the habit. It's clouds in real life. You know, that is a little weird, now that I'm looking at it. No, I'll take what I can get, right? Okay. So coming back here, I'm going to go ahead and make sure my route is correct, which it is. I'm going to go to performance initiation. We're going to go ahead and double check what my different values are. In this case, my cost index, which refers to exactly how much fuel we're using to climb versus to cruise. We're going to set that number pretty high. I'm going to do 400. And that means we're going to get a very quick cruise speed. Cruise flight level has been pre-entered for us. I'm not going to worry about it. Center of gravity's good. Thrust limit. Now, this is one of those fun things I'd love to play with. There's a button that says TO, which is a full thrust takeoff. I'm going to click that one. I'm going to make sure my climb is full thrust. I'm sure the good folks here at Frankfurt aren't going to mind too much for the noise. One thing that you can do that works well is you can actually tell the aircraft is hotter outside than it's supposed to be. So, for example, if I dial in 45 Celsius, you'll notice that changes my available power setting. You know, if I came in here and said it's actually 5 degrees Celsius, whoop, can't do that. It's got to be 0.5 degrees Celsius. 0.5, boop. Out of range. You suck. We'll go back to 15, sorry. There you go. You can see that it's going to change. Out of range again? Okay, so on the other FMS, on the other Boeing, it's a little different, but you can see it does change my power setting. I'm going to go to takeoff. We're going to select our flaps. In this case, we're going to be using flaps 10 today. It's going to be 10. Whoops. Go back to takeoff. Set it to flaps 10. By the way, notice these speeds did not update, which is super duper annoying. I hate it when it does that. To actually update them, you have to put the flaps down, which I think is a little weird. I'm not going to lie. Snap this sucker to flaps 10. As soon as you do that, these values instantaneously update. 148 is going to be our magic speed today. So I'm going to go up to our handy dandy MCP. We're going to set it to the V2 speed. This is going to be our, we just got off the ground and need to start bringing up our flap speed. I'm going to go ahead and set that properly. I just want to look out the window and confirm something real quick before I get too carried away. My engines are running, by the way. It looks like we're going to be taking a right to a left. Okay, got it. All right, our engines are running. We can go ahead and shut the APU off. APU off. And that's all I had to do as far as that stuff goes. Isn't that handy? I love these modern airplanes. Of course, in the real world, you can't get away with stuff like this. You'd have to be a lot more specific. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and set up the rest of my controls here. Set this to be my range. I like to set this one at 80. I like to set this one at 40 once I get up into the air. We're going to go ahead and set our cruise altitude. Again, this would be based on whatever air traffic control tells us to do today. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and set that up to 29,000. Thank you. I'm going to make sure my heading is the equivalent of runway heading. In this case, we're taking off runway 7 right today. So we're going to go ahead and dial in just about to 70 degrees. But again, it's not quite 70. It's like 68 or something. I don't have the chart in front of me, so I can't confirm that just yet. Indicated airspeed is set correctly. You want to make sure your flight director is switched on. Usually there's different switches for these. Don't push autopilot. Usually this switch should be off until the last possible second. Okay, taking a look now. I'm going to confirm that everything is looking good. My speeds look good. I'm going to go ahead and activate my rejected takeoff and my brakes. Normally in this plane, you grab this handle and you pull it up. There's this little lever, like it just engages it. That's not how that works. You go click, and that'll arm it in case we need an emergency stop with this particular aircraft. All right, looking around, I think we've collected a few folks. I can see somebody's in something very small directly next to me. You see there's somebody on the other end. It looks like we got a couple over in that direction. Looks like we have he's ready to go. Okay, let's go ahead and get this show rolling. We're going to leave out air traffic control today. When we taxi this aircraft, you usually flip on the nose lights, and you want to go ahead and turn on all of these 3. That's about as much as you need. You're going to go ahead and release the parking brake. And we're just going to get this thing going. Again, it does not take much thrust to get this thing wheeling. I think we just ran over the guy in the little pickup truck, but too bad. According to this flag, it says that the wind is coming from the wrong direction based on what it said in the flight simulator, but I said runway 7 right, so we're going to be using runway 7 right. All right, let's get going. Whoa, 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 whoa! So now, I don't know if this is a bug, or I don't know why this does this, but for whatever reason in Airliners, I think I just exploded. You ever get the feeling? Sorry about that, folks. I believe I just took off every single light pole in the entire world here. But again, it's just going to be one of those days, so we're going to have to put up with it. Oh, I see what happened. Fortunately for us, the only thing we have to do is restart the aircraft. We're good. All right, let's do it to it. Okay, now that that's done, I'll do a quick start and get everything going. You know how it's just one of those things where, like, you know, you didn't practice it in advance, so you wouldn't have known to watch out for that little light pole that could accidentally chop you in half. You know, like little things like that we should probably have confirmed before we got carried away. As a matter of fact, I'm going to disable damage so that it doesn't happen again. So we don't run into that problem. Hey, there we go. Apply and save. Nice. I think it's interesting it happened more than one person. Luckily for us, this gives everybody a chance to kind of join us, and that'll work out. Ah, that's what I hit. Oh, man, that's tricky. Yeah, I'll go ahead and correct that in a second. But what I will do is I'll get pushback back into the left. Ah, they're not even going to give us pushback. Ah, this is tricky. The problem is we can't do a power back either, which is kind of unfortunate. Yes, okay. I'm going to see, we got another person lined up. Let's go ahead and take a look at folks on this side. Hey, I'm kind of working with what I got here. This is the first time we've ever really had an issue with these things. I'm going to try to go straight again and cross my fingers that when I hit this, it doesn't freak out. I did just disable damage, so I'm trying to cross my fingers in that regard. Okay, I'm not going to bother setting up the FMS again, but I will bother to go ahead and dial in that 10 degrees of flaps. I will take the minute to go reject the takeoff. I will take the minute to put this back to 148. All right, this time we got it. I'm sorry I'm being slow today, folks. But again, like I said, we wanted to try to do some stuff from the audience. I'm going to go LNAV, VNAV. Everything's all set. Do you have it set to the Eastern U.S. server? Fingers crossed. Ha-ha! We only mostly didn't die that time. All right, let's do it. We're back in business. Okay, back to what I was saying a minute ago. Sorry about the interruption. Like I said, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. It looks like I'm about to crash directly into an aircraft in front of me, so I'm going to do the polite thing, and I'm going to turn away from him. Yep, we're about to go straight, unless he's going straight. Is he going to go straight? Nope, he's turning, so we got to turn too. Yeah, contacted them. They're being lazy, but that's okay. Easy on the brakes. Easy on the brakes. We're just going to take the middle runway to get out of the way of this guy over here. Now, one of the interesting things with this version of Flight Simulator is when you're using the front wheel, you have to be tremendously gentle that you don't jerk it like this. Because if you do that, the aircraft stops turning. It's kind of an interesting little thing here. All right, going to go get ourselves all nice and lined up here. All right, let's go ahead and get everything else set up now that we had to reset everything. That was so lame. All right, landing lights are going to be on. You want to always turn on your strobe light before you come onto the runway. Get ourselves lined up. Hopefully the rest of our folks who are all ready to go over there on the right are ready to go as well. Taking a look, taking a look. Oh, to change servers, by the way, if you tap the escape key and click right here, you can change servers just by going like that. All right, line ourselves up. I did not check the approach, but again, we're a big nasty live stream of angry airliners, and we're about to create a huge disaster anyway, so we might as well have some fun anyway. All right, go ahead and pull us around. There's probably somebody at the end of the runway who's going to be looking at us very disappointingly in a second. Nice and stopped. Okay. Now, this aircraft, we can do an automatic takeoff. We're definitely going to use that. There's this little teeny tiny button in the back of the thing. You can actually see it says Activate Toga. If you click on that, you push down, and the aircraft actually takes control of the throttles for you. And all we do is go, and off we go. Ooh, that is that's an angry rumble. I'm not gonna lie though, I kind of don't like the sound of this airplane. I love like the nice grinding noises that you get like in the old, Boeing 737s, is what the CFM56 is. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get rolling here. We're gonna start lifting up on the nose once we get to our V1 speed. Cruising along. I love how it's fly-by-wire. You just kind of keep going. How you doing? How you guys doing? V1. Rotate. V2. Gear up. Do not turn the aircraft until you get clear of the runway. So unfortunately, I cannot play tour guide for everybody today because I don't know this area nearly as well as especially flying in the United States. So we're just going to kind of go ahead and do our normal takeoff here and just kind of get ourselves going. Exactly. I'll need to do air traffic control. I got some stuff coming with VATSIM, by the way, in about 3 weeks. So for those of you who want to go way too far, we'll go ahead and do that. All right, going to start bringing my flaps up. Go ahead and turn the aircraft. Normally, of course, you could go ahead and flip on the automatic pilot pretty much at any time, but again, I'm not going to worry about that too much. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out. Like I said, I like about 40 miles on the left one, and I like 80 miles on the right one. Everybody's different, and once we get a little closer to our destination, you'll see me start playing with some of those things as well. 80 nautical miles there. And now the absurdity will start to set in almost immediately. I'm still on manual control here. By the way, one of the best things about this aircraft, click! Oh yeah, you can't see that. So it would have been the best thing if you could see it. All right, well, let's do it to it. I'm going to look behind me and see how everybody else is doing. All right, so once I get going, I will pause my aircraft in mid-flight. This is so cool. I love this. I love the little chevrons to reduce noise. This is probably the most traffic we've created in Central Europe in a very long time. But again, we're here just to cause trouble. One of the things I love is that in a recent patch, they finally fixed the flight director. It'll actually give you navigation information without having to actually be on autopilot mode. That is wonderful. Unfortunately, they didn't bother to put it on your overhead display, which is a little annoying, not gonna lie. Pull the nose up just a teeny tiny bit. That looks pretty good there. And I love the fly-by-wire. You don't have to touch the trim at all. All right, looking down, looks like we're going to be straightening out here. We can actually decrease our range. I think it's up way too high. There we go. One thing I recommend doing, too, is at low altitude, go ahead and bash the terrain button. And now you can have a pretty good look at all the nasty terrain that's around us. Again, we're doing a nice and slow, gentle climb, giving plenty of people plenty of time to go ahead and catch up with us. Oh, God, this is so absurd. Unfortunately, not everybody on YouTube took the time to. This is so crazy. Look at him go. Oh my god, this is going to be so absurd in a second. All right, go ahead and start taking my turn. I talked to an airline pilot. I used to work in a museum that did a lot of airplane stuff, and talking to a lot of airline pilots over the years. Well, one of the common things they said is they basically hand fly the plane until they get to 10 grand, and then they go ahead and flip over to automatic pilot mode, just to not just give them something to do, but to kind of stay sharp. Because remember, every 6 months they got to get grilled. So it's one of those things where you don't want to be relying on that autopilot too much. All right, this is just more fun to watch from behind. We're just kind of chilling. I like this guy. He's my favorite so far. I'm not sure who this is on YouTube, but I love that right turn there. That was wonderfully dangerous and awesome. Thank you. All right, going to go ahead and level ourselves out. I'm not really going to start getting aggressive with anything just yet. Believe it or not, the aircraft is still on automatic throttle mode. It's still considered to be toga mode. And you're probably going, well, why is your engine power so low? The reason it's so low is because if I pull back, watch what happens. Again, I love this airplane. Ah, see how the engines speed up? It's because basically the engines are trying to keep the same velocity, not the same climb rate. It's not a flight level change. And I am an LNAV and I am in VNAV, but then again, there's going to be a ton of people that are going to be piling up behind me in about 2 seconds here. I feel sorry for this guy. He's about to do it. What I will do is I'll go ahead and level ourselves up. Oh, we're about to cross 10 grand. 10 grand. Sweet. Go ahead and slap off all of our landing lights. Now we can start climbing like we mean it. So what do I mean by climbing like I mean it? Right now we're sitting here climbing at kind of a measly 243. We should be climbing as high as, I think it's 310, which is what our FMS is selected right now. The reason we're not really getting that speed though is because we're still in that early toga mode. But again, if I stick the nose down just a teeny tiny bit. Perfect. Okay, let's do it to it. This is so absurd. Oh my god. Hey, good morning. All right, and we're kind of queuing up here. Go ahead and pause in just a second. Again, I'm going to set it up so I can't go faster into everybody kind of gets going. You're going to have to tell me more about the MB339er. I've heard of it. I don't exactly know much about it. But again, like I said, I don't know everything. And I'm just kind of doing this nice gentle cruise here. I'm actually going to flip on the automatic pilot, finally. Notice it flipped over to thrust reference mode almost immediately, and now it's basically going to give us our pre-selected thrust. Something I really miss on like the really, really old things like 727s is you basically grab the throttle, put it somewhere, and just sort of left it there until you leveled off. This thing's going to be dancing a little bit depending on our altitudes and stuff like that. Okay, so I'm going to go and spin around this way. I've got a whole pack of people over here. I think I recognize a couple of those, so we'll kind of see how this goes. Again, I'm going to try not to get going too fast here, because if I do, you'll never, ever be able to catch up. All right, climbing pretty good. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know from GCS, there's a couple different military fighter jets that are actually trainer types. I think the L-39, and I think I have the C-101. And yes, okay, yeah, of course it qualifies, right? It carries a passenger, that makes it, and it's got a jet. All right, I'd be curious what these folks over here are up to, but like you can see, we got a couple folks who are trying to keep up with us here. Like I said, I'll do the best I can to kind of get us all squared away once we get a little closer. And again, one of the problems, one of the reasons I don't like these kind of airplanes is once LNAV and VNAV are on, and we've been cleared to our cruise altitude, you can basically take a nap, and then I'll tell you all my nice horror stories about electrical failures at night and stuff like that. I'm very curious what all this is, but I have a feeling they're going to try to cut me off in just a minute. But we'll kind of see exactly what it looks like. Love the use of the Cessnas there. That's just awesome. And I'm just continuing our climb. Again, we're doing a pretty gentle climb. At any point, I could shut off auto thrust and rail these things all the way forward to get basically 100% power. That's going to get us going up pretty quick. You want to see a slick trick, by the way? If you actually come up to init ref, you can actually go to performance real quick. No, I'm sorry, not performance, thrust limit, my bad. And you can actually change the climb power that's being currently used. Like I just selected climb 1, and now you can see my power spools up to be 10% and basically maximum performance climb. If I came over here and clicked this one, now notice my new maximum climb power gets reduced to 80%. Now anybody who knows anything about airliners would say it's completely absurd to use only 80% for a climb. The reason for that is the fact that the sooner we get to altitude, the sooner we get to save fuel. Just sitting here kind of kind of dilly-dallying at this low altitude is absolutely killing our fuel economy. So we want to be doing zip-zip, but again, I want to slow down so everybody behind me can kind of catch up. I have a feeling everybody's going to get to LOWI way before I do, but that's perfectly fine too, so I'm not too worried about that. All right, everything looking pretty good. We've got our range set. I can click the plan button. Good time to start playing with some of the fun buttons on this particular aircraft. One of the things I really enjoy doing is you got the systems page. And this is a touch screen, which just blows my mind. Unfortunately, there's nothing here. Oh. Well, we can take a look at our fuel, and we can get 25,000. We need 23,000, so I'm not worried about it. Look, we don't even have a stat page. That's depressing. Go back to systems, and we don't need that. We'll go ND, which stands for navigational display, and we are on our way. One thing that people did ask me the other day about this airplane, by the way, is how do you get your transponder? There's two switches. There's the actual transponder switch, which I forgot to shut off. Shame on me. And there's the actual transponder page, which lets you set your frequency. So, if I were in the United States and I'm doing a VFR, I could do something like that. All right, we're cruising. Again, we're barely climbing here. I'm trying to give everybody plenty of time to kind of go through this. Oh, my audio isn't screwed up. Oh, no. Yeah, sometimes that happens. All right, we're just kind of gently climbing here. Now, is there a big sign from the sky that we can tell when we get to Austria? I think I was reading something that would say Österreich or something like that, but again, my German is absolutely awful. I wasn't able to find out a lot of information. When I think of LOWI Airport, of course, which is Innsbruck, I always think of X-Plane 9, because that was kind of like the default airport everybody flew to. It's definitely cool. I don't know that we're going to be able to safely get this plane down on it, but fortunately for us, although we don't go up to 11 on our auto brakes, we do go to maximum, so maybe it's not going to be that bad of a landing. Of course, we have the speed brake. Of course, we have reverse. We've got plenty of buttons on this thing in order to make our life a little bit simpler as far as landing goes. Oh, no. I believe what they actually have is multiple servers. There's definitely quite a few people behind me. I've got this chap who's going to zip by me. Again, I'm trying to keep my speed down here. I'm not trying to do anything excessive. Once I get up to altitude, I will start to crank on it. But as you can see, people will start catching up to me along the flight as well. I could pause my flight as well, but unfortunately, I can't guesstimate how far away our buddy over here is, so I don't want him to go ripping by me either. All right, let's start planning for our descent. So, right? So taking a look here, it looks like 11:25 is when we're going to be reaching our destination. I'm taking a look at my current clock. Actually, that's the current time, my bad. Taking a look real quickly, I noticed that we're Kovan. We're going to go to Sweden. I'm going to go ahead and change the range here so I can study it a little bit carefully. And it looks like basically as soon as we get to Sweden, we're going to have to start coming down. What I'm going to do real quickly is I'm going to go bring up the LOWI RNAV approach so that we can start planning as a group how we're not going to go smacking into the ground at high speed here. Go ahead and type in LOWI. I'm going to type in approach plate, PDF to Google, for those of you guys who are curious. And we'll see if we can find any usable charts that we can actually have here. So let's go ahead and see what I've dug up. Okay. Again, this is, I'm flying for the audience here, so I'm kind of doing this as I'm flying, which makes this double dangerous. Remember, we're going to be using runway 8 right here. All right. That looks pretty sketchy. That looks pretty sketchy. These are all departures. We don't want departures. Scrolling down through departures, scrolling through departures. Okay, usually what they do is they suddenly go to the other one. Okay, that's a max special performance departure. Ooh, that makes it special. That makes it better, right? Runway 8 departure. We want an arrival. What do we got here? Okay, we have the airport. Oh my god, it's only 6,500 feet. Oh, this was a bad idea. Okay, let's try it. What do we got here? We have LOWI Innsbruck. We're not taking that particular approach because that's going in the wrong direction. Take a look here. I think we're taking 8 today, so we're going to be coming this way. Let's take a look. What is this? This is a low L. Oh my god, forget that. All right, what else we got? It's not that great. Let's take a look here. Is this an RNAV? That is, yep, that's an RMP. All right, we're in business. Whoa, boy. This is sketchy. Because it looks like our altitude needs to be 13,000 feet when we cross the first waypoint. And then we're basically going to fall out of the sky. And it looks like, oh boy, that's going to be so dangerous. And it's a 4-degree descent too, as you can see right there. Yikes. But the important thing is 13,000 feet. That's the number I really need to know to be successful. All right, let's go ahead and hide that sucker. Looks good. Let's jump back into the airplane. Let's start planning our approach. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to press init ref. I'm going to go over to the performance page. Actually, I'm sorry, the approach page. My bad. It's been a very long week. Let's see here. We go ahead and select our approach references. In this case, we're going to be using this particular one here. I'll go ahead and type in 30/144. Oh my god, I have no idea how we're going to get this thing on the ground. Okay, so we're going to be using 30 degrees of flaps, and our approach speed is going to be 144 knots. I'm going to press Dep R. I'm going to press in the R button. And you can see we have RNAV for 8Y ready to go, which is the one that we had before. So I believe we can land. We're light enough, so we should be able to do it. Transmission is LM, which is what we had before, and you can see we've got that there. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at my legs. One of the great things is, look at that, ZBIX. We need to be at 13,000 feet. So we're at 74, that's 180 nautical miles. So when this number gets to about, I'm just doing the math real quick off the top of my head, we're at 29,000 feet. 29 times 3 is going to be a little under 100. So when this is about 100 nautical miles, we're going to start making our way back down to the ground. Everybody's done that, don't worry. My favorite thing to do is to leave the landing gear down. For whatever reason, in this version of Flight Simulator, the button for my landing gear on my joystick, like I push it, but it doesn't always snap the landing gear up. So I can't tell you how many incidents, I'm just going to put that in finger quotes, you can't see them. So another cool thing on this aircraft, just while we're enjoying our cruise, because our cruise is only going to be lasting another like 8 minutes, you have this neat little thing over here, which is like a little kind of an electronic flight bag, and normally what you could do is you could get all your charts and stuff built right into the display. Again, it's just really, really nice stuff, and hopefully when we start getting the fancy airliners, we'll start getting stuff like that. All right, let's go ahead and take a peek out the back window and see how things are going. We've definitely got some folks catching up with us. Emildus right there is catching up. We got SSD, US8. I can't see him. I'm going to try to look, though. No, I can't see it. I'm just looking with the mouse really, really carefully, seeing if we get lucky and spot somebody. I can see Helter Skelter, and I can just make out a little tiny speck right there. So we'll see exactly what that's going to look like once we start coming down. Okay, so one thing that works really, really well, and this is a fun trick, is you can actually set your range over on this guy to be in such a way that if this were 160 nautical miles from where my mouse is, if we need to be at 100 nautical miles to get the ZBIX, once ZBIX gets to where Mumuk is, M-O-M-U-K, that's going to tell me it's time to descend. Again, normally air traffic control is going to be instructing you this entire flight. But unfortunately, you got to deal with me, and I'm not exactly a good air traffic control. Sorry about that. All right, I'm going to take a look at the window and enjoy beautiful southern Germany. I've never actually gotten out to Germany so far. You know, there's so many cool things here that I love to. My family's part German, so it's just been one of those things where, like, one of these days I'm going to finally get fortunate and be able to actually visit this part of the world. My understanding is the beer is pretty good, and again, I'm not much of a beer guy, but we'll kind of see what that kind of turns out to be itself. All right, looking behind me, checking the folks behind me. Everything looks pretty good. Everything looks pretty good. This is the part with airliners everybody loves. Normally what I would do is I go and like do the laundry and stuff like that. You know, it's a pretty satisfying thing. Oh, Victorio says, you're good at I'm dead. I totally agree with you. I know what you mean. But one thing that always does is like I used to get my books out or like, go pull out, try to get some like homework done or something like that. Of course, homework for me is on the other opposite. I have to do the correcting versus the actual work. So, kind of get some things like that. I had a feeling somebody would say comment like that. Okay, so just take a look. We're getting onto Sudan. Again, once we get that position over on the right, we're going to start our descent. We're getting very close. Do you see how ZBIX is just about halfway through that point? Basically, we need to start coming down as soon as we see it on our actual thing. A grapefruit, press the like button. I'm not sure what it is. Okay, cool. Actually, I think I saw you a minute ago. Yeah, he's out there somewhere. Cool. Okay, so now we're going to have to think this through. So our aircraft is going to be approaching the ground doing about 144 knots. We have 6,400 feet to safely put the thing down on the ground. What that tells me is that we're going to have to hit the ground hard. Like there can't be any delay from when we cross the threshold to the back tires are hitting that ground. Luckily, we're going to be fairly light when we do that, but that also means that we're practically going to have the speed brakes out as we cross the threshold. That's an extremely dangerous technique, but it's going to be the only thing we can possibly do. Now, thank God we have the right amount of fuel in this thing, because if I had to glide this thing into LOWI, forget it. I'm starting to notice the mountains are getting a little bit taller with that. I'm not sure why that is. Again, I can see there's quite a few people behind me. I recognize that one. And he's been keeping a nice track on me so far. SDSD is just commenting the fact that his autopilot went amok. I was doing a video earlier, and it was like 45 minutes into the video, and the autopilot just ate me. So if you ever wonder why that happens at the end of my videos, where everything is going perfect and it just doesn't, and I leave it in, it really is because of the fact that it's just, it's so much work to have to go back and re-edit all that. I have so much time. Somebody just joined us. Good afternoon, or guten tag, Harry. Basically what we're doing is we're flying a group flight with a bunch of airliners. I'll show you real quick. There they are. And we're flying into Innsbruck, which is in northern Austria. So that's going to be kind of an interesting flight. Oh, time to go down. All right, let's do it. 13,000 feet. We're going to go ahead and get this thing going down on its own. I'm actually going to shut off the automatic throttle, pull the throttle back, and press the flitch button. Flitch, of course, is flight level change. That's a wonderful button. It's IAS button for those of you who are on like a Cirrus SR22 or something like that. We're going to start a nice gentle descent down here. Of course, the folks behind me are all going to start freaking out, going, "Oh, what's happened?" All right. Oh man, I gotta mentally prepare myself for this landing because it's going to be such a short distance. Let's start getting ready. I'm going to set my auto brake up to max auto. Unfortunately, there's no 11. I really wish there was an 11 line here. Because, you know, max auto, but one more. You know how it goes. All right, ZBix, we need to be at 13,000 feet. We're presently at 27,000 feet. We're going to be there a little early, which isn't going to be too bad. From ZBix, I'm just going to go ahead and confirm things on my RNAV-Y runway 8. Go ahead and call that up for folks who are just joining us or just kind of forgot it already. Remember, we're going to be hitting this point. That's going to be your ZBix. We're going to do a little zigzag through a valley, losing constant altitude. And when we hit 8,300 feet, that is going to be our final approach fix. That's going to be in the left turn of the valley. Then what's going to happen is we're going to kind of zip up the valley some more and basically stay at that altitude until we can get the runway in sight. So we're going to have to be tremendously careful with this approach. We're basically going to fall out of the sky. So don't be surprised if I reach over for the actual handle that uses the speed brakes. I feel so dirty as a pilot doing that, but hey, it's there for a reason, right? All right, here we go, folks. Here we go. Now, the amazing thing here is we got to be very mindful of our altitude. Oh, I didn't realize I had that set to 20. I like it being... Well, actually, 20 is pretty good. Yeah, we want to be hitting ZBix at about 13,000 feet. So I'm just looking real quickly. We're going to get there early. So I'm actually going to increase my thrust just a teeny tiny bit. If you're wondering why I'm doing that, this is because basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to decrease my vertical speed because I'm using this as my descent reference. So by doing so, it's just basically going to keep us from descending too quickly. Like I said, I don't want to go dropping out. Augustin asked, next landing, question mark. I'm not sure what you were asking. We're going to Lima, Oscar, Whiskey, India, in case you want to kind of meet us there in circle or something like that. Oh man, this is nice. According to everybody online, apparently the weather's supposed to be a lot worse, but apparently whatever happened here did not work properly. But again, I'm not going to mess with it too much. I'm enjoying the nice visibility here. Did a flight for us earlier, which you'll see next week's video, where it was not the most pleasant weather. That's what I get for making it realistic, though. Okay, this is pretty good. We're getting about 2,000 feet per minute, which means 2,000 feet per minute. 5 minutes to the bottom for a descent. Of course, take a look at the time over here. 30 nautical miles in 5 minutes. It's not going to quite work out. We're actually still descending slightly too fast here. And you can see there would be my estimated time. There's my actual time. So you can see we're actually going to get to Momuk at 10:35. But to lose 7,000 feet is not going to take 5 minutes, because remember, the current time is 11:31. So now if I want to be really evil, I could just push the throttle forward even more, bring it up to like 60% or so. Right there. And now this is going to drop to like 800 feet per minute. But the thing is, now since it's only about 800 and 900 feet, that was too much. Too much. Got to back it out a little bit. These engines are weird. Now it's going to take us a little bit longer to get down to our destination. Again, we don't want to get there early because there's going to be big scary mountains in our way when we do. Now, we could have done this with 747s. Now, that I don't think I could safely land. Now, if it's something like a 737 or even an Airbus, I feel pretty safe with that. Like, I feel like I could do it unless we're really, really heavy. And we're not really descending anymore. I'll back the throttle out a little more. There it goes. Now the nose should start dropping again on us. Let's go ahead and grab our heads-up display. And just looking real quickly. Yeah, we're losing speed. Yeah, see, I like CWS. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. And what do we got? We're descending. We're still in flitch mode. Interesting. Okay, fine. Be that way. All right. Since this is being annoying, I'm just going to go ahead and use the manual mode, do it the old-fashioned way. And do about, let's see, 1,000 feet per minute. Should get us going down pretty well here. Again, it's got to be different depending on what aircraft you're flying. Somebody's in a 747. Are you kidding me? Good luck. There we go. That's looking pretty good. So we're supposed to be there at 10:35. The current time is 10:33. We need to lose a lot of altitude in that amount of time, but that is completely intentional because remember, we're not actually getting to 13 at Momuk. We're getting to 13 when we get to ZBix. Buenos dias. Which is going to be a little bit later on as well. All right, studying real quick. Looks good, looks good. Look at the window. Got the big old thing right there, I think. I wouldn't be surprised. The reality is the brakes in this version of Flight Simulator are so much better than the brakes in the real world. It's not even funny. All right, that's good to hear. Good to hear. All right, taking a look around the corner, looking around. And we could probably shut the details off here. I'm going to go ahead and flip on the terrain display, because it's going to get very interesting very quickly. There's actually a neat little menu here. You can do things like shutting traffic on and everything else like that. You can turn the weather on. Kind of neat stuff. All right, remember, when we hit ZVIX, we're supposed to be at 13, and we're at 18. We're going to get there really early, which is not going to be the end of the world. Oh, geez, this guy's going to come right up on behind me. Okay, don't think this is a good idea. I believe it is EDDF to... I'll type it in real quick while I'm busy. LOWI. There we go. All right. Well, those mountains are looking pretty nasty. Remember, there's no synthetic vision on a 7.8. All right, 18,000. We're getting a little fast, but nothing too bad. I really don't want to go smack into those mountains if I don't have to. All right, Momak. Looking over here. I hate this part. So now that I'm getting a little bit closer, I'm actually going to drop the range on my right display here. So we need to hit this point at 13,000 feet. That's about 35 nautical miles away. You can tell we're going to get there really, really early. Because, roughly. What I'm actually tempted to do is to level off at 15. I feel like these mountains are way too tall where I am presently. I'm just checking over the chart one more time, just making sure there's nothing that tall that I'm just not considering that I'm going to go smacking into. That would be really embarrassing, especially since we already took out a light pole earlier and ended our flight prematurely. All right, swinging gently to the left. Gotta see how everybody's doing behind us. I can see everybody's starting to catch up. Yogurts. All right, we got everybody behind us. This guy's been pretty much on my 6 this entire flight. I think he's following me. All right, everybody ready to land? Stretch myself out. Okay. Yeah, that's the one thing I don't like about airliners. You don't get to fly as much. All right. As soon as we get there, as soon as we round this corner, we're going to have to drop our speed to basically 210. Yeah, see the new decel thing just popped up a moment ago to remind us we need to... Oh, there it is. To remind us we need to slow down. I completely agree. Looking good, looking good. Oh, I don't like this. Looks like somebody's going to meet us there. All right. Ooh. That guy is, like, right there. Okay. Uh-oh. That's good advice. Sarah just mentioned the fact the highest mountain in Austria is going to be 12,500. So 13,000 is going to be plenty. It's just going to be a little scary. Now, I don't want to go dipping under 10,000 early, because the moment I go dipping under 10,000, that means that I'll have to reduce my speed to 250 knots, which is not exactly what I want. Ooh, starting to pick up a little bit of that lag. Ah! Oh, that was pretty intense. Oh, I don't know what that was. I'm guessing we just spawned in about 10 more civilian airplanes or something like that. Oh my, that was rough. Nope. Somebody's lagging us. Probably gonna have to shut off the aerodynamic aircraft display, because that's getting... Ooh! Oh, what is that? Sorry, everybody. Oh, okay, we're back. We must have just spawned in most of Germany. Gotcha. Yeah, I know that's a little weird with the weather. This is much too polite. Oh, that's a little different. I know, I set it to live. I'm actually going to change the time of day back to what we were before. Ooh, I'm getting hammered. Oh yeah, that's unpleasant. It's bad enough that our landing is going to have something like this involved. We might as well put it back to at least so that we can see what time of day it's going to be. Now, you guys said clouds. We'll do broken clouds. Why not? That looks pretty good. We'll go ahead and change the time of day. Makes it so we can actually see what's going on here. Alright. It's going to lag like crazy when I do that, but it'll be okay in a moment. There we go. Hopefully that looks a little bit better for everybody. One thing I am going to do, though, is I'm going to go to settings real quick. Sorry, everybody. Got to do this. General. We're going to go to traffic, and we're going to shut off nameplates, because that tends to be something that creates quite a bit of trouble. Go back, go back. Okay, back to normal. Hey, we did it. All right, let's go ahead and get ready for our landing now that we've sorted that out. All right, so Xebex is about 20 miles away. We're going to be there. We need to hit 13,000 feet. You can see right now we're about 15,000 feet now. I'm going to go ahead and reduce my power just a teeny tiny bit. Speed is almost perfect. Excellent. Oh my god, I don't like the looks of some of those mountains. Ooh. Okay. Go ahead and look behind us. Remember, I shut off the plates in order. Oh, it actually improved frame rates delightfully. Looking behind us, everything looks good. Looks like apparently in Germany we use cotton for clouds, but that's okay. All right, pop back inside. And we'll be on the ground in about 12, 13 minutes. I'm actually going to shut terrain mode off just in case that's giving us some extra trouble. Whoop. Good. There we go. Sweet. All right. Is everybody ready? Now, the altitude of Innsbruck is actually relatively high, so when we do want to land, we could probably flip on our landing lights immediately. Awesome. All right. It's just scary to think that we're traveling 310 knots right now, which is getting us a ground speed of just about 400 miles an hour. Oh, somebody's waiting for us. Awesome. All right, get ready, everybody. Oh, this is not going to be fun. Whose idea was this anyway? Now, one thing we'd be doing as we're preparing to land is we want to go ahead and arm the speed brake. For some reason, I haven't figured out the button for it. I'm pretty sure in the control settings there is a switch for arming the speed brake. We're going to have to do it by hand. As a matter of fact, I'm going to cheat and turn it on before we land. We're just going to pretend we're in F16, so it'll be perfectly fine, right? Server is USA East. Now, take a look. I told we need to get to 13,000 when we get to Xebex. Look at how close we're going to be to 13,000 when we hit Xebex. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at my plans real quickly here. So we need to get ourselves down to 8,300 is going to be the next altitude after crossing Xebex. So remember, we have to follow this valley very closely. One thing we're going to have to do is start losing speed like crazy in a second, though. Go ahead and back my throttle all the way out. We really need to slow this airplane down because we're basically going to have to fall out of the sky when we get to our destination. I know there's a bunch of folks behind me right now, but unfortunately I can't see any of them just yet. I'm assuming they're back there somewhere. Oh my, those clouds look very intimidating. All right, everybody ready? Okay, we were hitting Xebex at 13,000. We're going to be getting there pretty early. I'm going to get my speed down to 250. I'm going to control it by hand. Now, normally what you could do is you could come over here. You could dial this right down to 250 yourself. And we can set it. I hate the way Flight Simulator does that. Dial it down to 250, and then we can go ahead and press the AT button. And as long as your automatic throttle is armed, you should be able to press that, and the aircraft should maintain its own speed. And it looks like it's doing a pretty good job of it, so I'm actually not complaining in the slightest. Let's go ahead and double-check our landing procedures once again. Go to the approach page, just double check. We're going to be doing 144 knots confirmed, and it's going to be a dangerous landing. Oh, I see one right there. Okay, watch out for landing lights with this kind of condition, by the way. All right, we've just crossed Xebex at 13,000 feet. We need to start descending to our next altitude, which is going to be 8,700 feet. We're going to set vertical speed mode. Normally, you want to do about a 3-degree descent. Is going to be kind of the sweet spot here. I'm going to set it to 1,000 feet per minute. Delightful. All right, down we go. Now, one of the neat things is there's actually a button here. You can set this to be a 3-degree descent in the real plane. Unfortunately for us, we don't have that. All right, I'm noticing that this is misbehaving, but it's probably something that I did a few minutes ago that I just didn't realize. So I'm going to go ahead and shut off the auto throttle. I'm going to set this to a flight level change. I'm just going to let the nose kind of dip down on its own. Whoa, look at those mountains. This is not the best time for your autopilot to be giving you shenanigans. And zoom in a little bit. Train mode on. All right, folks, everybody ready for this? Now, one of the interesting things is you hear these things called fly-by waypoints versus fly-over waypoints. This is one of those fly-over waypoints. You would not want to make this a fly-by waypoint. All right, that was definitely something that should have been a fly-over waypoint. I'm just going to take control of the aircraft by hand for a second here. I feel like I need all the concentration in the world for a second here. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take my left turn right through the little valley that we saw on the diagram earlier. All right. So not only are we having autopilot issues, we're having low visibility, and we're landing in an extremely dangerous location. So how's your day going, everybody? All right, I'm going to bring out my air brakes. I'm going to bring out my first notch of flaps. I'm going to go ahead and slap my landing gear down. Oh, good to remember. Thank you. Did it arm them? Yes. Oh, no, it just slapped them on. Okay, start coming down. All right, looking pretty good, looking pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and arm the approach. I just got passed. All right, and we want to be that bottom altitude, like I said, about 8,700 feet, but we don't need to get that until we get to that WIB, or sorry, that's a Whiskey India 812. Make sure everything else is looking good. 15 degrees of flaps, landing gear are in the down position. Good time to make sure your anti-icing stuff is set up correctly, by the way, because you don't want that surprise. Looking good. Got to fly this bit by hand real quick. There we are. There we go. Nice. Gonna get a little bit lower here. I'll tell you, that 15 degrees of flaps just stops your plane. Looks good, looks good. Be losing a lot more altitude here. It's all right. Got to start losing altitude and dive into the valley here. I'm starting to get warnings with my terrain radar already. Honestly, icing in the real world is dangerous, but it's not nearly as aggressive as they simulate in this version of Flight Simulator. Now, whose idea was it to fly this in bad weather? All right, looking pretty good. Remember, our approach speed's going to be 144 knots. We're right about to capture our approach. Remember, we're doing an RNAV approach. Looks pretty good so far. Speed's looking pretty high, but we don't want to be going too slow during this point. Looking pretty good. I'm so glad I've got a terrain radar. Look at my right. Yikes. Again, I want to keep this thing going nice and slow for this point. I don't want to be doing anything too chaotic. Remember, 8,700 feet is our final approach fix. We have still not captured any of the actual glide slope stuff, but that's okay. I'm actually going to turn the automatic pilot back on. Put back to approach mode. Now we're in business. Nice. All right. Whew. That could have been really stressful. I'm glad I kind of grabbed the hands there for a second. I'm sure my pilots are going, or my passengers are going, should we be doing this in a turboprop? My bigger concern here is the fact that we appear to be going right by this corner here. Taking a look at my approach plate one more time. It looks like we're going to have to do that and then take an aggressive left turn. So fingers crossed, everybody. Fingers crossed. All right, looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Nice and slow. Oh my, folks. Be careful. Go ahead and check my little radars again. Make sure everything makes sense. Looks good here. Nope, that's too far zoomed in. One thing I recommend is flip it to center mode. Nope, you don't need that. Yep, straight ahead. Okay, no pressure, no pressure, no pressure, no pressure, no pressure. No, the computer I actually have, it's not a gentle computer. It's an SSD. Everything's new. It's a 10850K for the processor. It's 32 gigs of RAM. It's a 3080. Every once in a while, you get that. All right, taking a look very cautiously. Poking out of the woods here. I'm looking right at the edge of that, and I'm not liking it very much. Okay, we're leveling off. Perfect timing. No, you don't. Did you see it? Did you see it? How you doing? It tried to pull me into the mountain. I saw it. All right, we'll get rid of that last notch of flaps. And I see what I came here for. Got it? All right, let's do it. Again, who said this was a good idea? Maybe we should have taken off from LOWI and flown up to Berlin. Or, again, Frankfurt. That would have been a little easier. Okay, time to start getting this thing ready to land. I'm going to start bringing my flaps all the way down. We need to get ourselves to 144 knots. Again, I'm flying this one by hand because apparently the RNAV wants to slack me into that mountain right there, which is probably what it's supposed to do, but it just doesn't seem very safe. I'm not going to lie. Wouldn't you kill right now for synthetic vision?
2500.
Hold this altitude for a moment. We're going to get tremendously close to that mountain on my right. You can see it. Oh, this is a terrible idea. All right, that's what I was hoping for. Okay, is everybody ready? All right, we're looking for 144 knots as our approach speed. We've successfully lined ourselves up. It's got to be right on our left. I'm hand flying at this point because it's just going to be a lot safer than trying to do it by the autopilot, which, as you've already seen, is you could probably use your imagination there. All right, coming down pretty smoothly. Again, we're looking for about 144 knots. Man, this is way more intense than I was expecting for a Saturday morning, but I'll take what I can get. There's Innsbruck. Anybody got any good trivia about Innsbruck? All right. All right, let's check to make sure everything's ready for landing. Flaps right. Okay, looks good. Landing lights are set. We have landing gear are down. The flaps are down. Speed brakes ready to rock. Our speed is perfect. We're going to have to basically land this thing and then stop. I'm actually going to shut off this real quickly to make things a little bit easier for me. Oh my God, that's a short runway. Oh, I'm getting cut off. Beep. Sorry, folks. It's the only thing I can beep with. All right, here we go. Nose down. I'm getting way close to stall speed, but again, unless we get this thing going incredibly slow, there's no way in the universe we're going to be able to put this thing on the ground smoothly. All right, here we go. Whew, this is not pleasant. Looking good, looking good. A little bit of a crosswind. Oh man, this sucks. Oh, feel that wind. It's a tailwind. Well, this landing just got 1,000% more dangerous. Not only did the wind get random on me, but it decided to change directions too. So now we have a tailwind and a 6,300 foot runway, and we're landing in an aircraft not designed for this. Yeah, let's have it. Hey, there's worse ways to start a week, right? We're still very high, but that's okay. I forget that this thing weighs 237,000 pounds. Get a little bit lower. Oh, that wind is real. A little bit lower. Can't wait to do this in VR. All right, a little bit lower. Oh my gosh, this is not safe. Nah, I'll be fine.
400.
Oh my gosh.
300.
Yes, I'm using a wing low technique with an airliner deal.
200.
Oh my gosh.
100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Whoop, that's not going to win any awards. Welcome to Innsbruck, everyone. This is your captain speaking. I think we're lost. Oh my. That's great. All right, folks, this was probably not the smartest idea, but I'm not complaining. All right, we're going to go park this thing, and we're going to watch everybody else try to do my suicidal landing here. Of course, when I went to go to a thrust reversing mode, I don't know if anybody caught it, tried to make me go around instead. I'm just glad I caught that before I was too late, because that could have been pretty messy. I think I see there's an airplane ready to take off right there on the right, but unfortunately... That's great. Oh, that's fun. Hey, I get to use the plane again. That's an excellent landing, according to my flight instructor. All right, I'm going to go bring us around here. That looks pretty good. All right. Sorry, business jet. Oh, somebody else made it. Somebody else made it. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to make this turn, though. So my entire plan has been thwarted by the fact that this aircraft is too long to take the turn. This is great. Okay, folks, we've reached the end of our little journey here. I think this has been a little insane. I'm going to watch a couple minutes as everybody desperately attempts to land their airplane there. Oh, that's great. Don't worry, I'll cut you off. Don't worry. Whoa. Whoop, somebody landed the correct direction. Oh, somebody's smarter than me, that's for sure. All right, I'm just going to kind of put an airplane that's never going to be able to get out of this grass into the grass. Excuse me. All right. If you let the plane stop, we'll never be able to move it again. And now the Austrian aviation authorities have advised me not to have a pilot's license any longer. All right, I'm going to go ahead and bring ourselves around the corner, and we're going to watch people come in for landing for a couple minutes here. And full stop. We're here. Okay. Woo! Shaking a little bit here. I don't know why. Whoop. On. All right, let's watch people land. There we go. Here they come. See, now this guy has the right idea. This is the correct airplane for this kind of a flight. I think he decided to take the motorway versus take the flightway, but that's perfectly fine. We got this guy. I think that's a 7-4 coming in right now. He seems to be doing a pretty good job right now. I think that is a taxiway. What is this, a rally? Absolutely, absolutely. Taking a look real quick. Looks like we have two folks that... easy, man, easy. Now, this is what I always think of when I think of Flight Simulator. This. I'll give everybody a second. I'll go ahead and approach our little plates again so we can kind of watch it and see who's actually here. What do we need? We need to turn on the plates here so we can go ahead and see what you've done. Apply and save. Go back, resume. Now we can see where everybody is. Oh, a power back. I haven't seen one of those in ages. Okay, props to this guy right here. That was amazing. You managed to stay with me the entire flight, despite me almost getting us all killed. All right, we got this chap coming in right now. Looking pretty good so far. We got Helter Skelter. Nicely done there. We got a Kanye who joined us over there on the right. Oh, who's that? Oh, we got a couple people landing in the correct direction, unlike me. Coming over here in just a moment. All right, looking pretty good. Let's see what we got on that side. Somebody, apparently he's got a new stealth plane. This must be something the Americans are working on here. Ronald wrecked his landing gear. Did you see that landing? I'm amazed I still have an airplane after that one. Should have been that fireball like everybody sees in that early 90s test video from NASA or whatever it was. Taking a look up here. Looks like we got another guy coming in. Okay, so this is probably a good time to go ahead and do some Q&A and all that other good stuff. I'm going to go ahead and shut the engines off. I don't need them right now. Parking brake's already been set, so I don't have to worry about that. We're poking out my front windshield here. Let's see what we got. Oh, somebody coming in an aircraft that actually makes sense. Yeah, this guy, like I said, this guy's got the right idea. Okay, as usual, I like to always kind of pause at the end and see if there's some Q&A. Does anybody have any questions on anything today? Again, we tried to do what the audience asked for. I kind of made the best I could. In the real world, I probably would have spent an hour making sure everything was perfectly set as far as details goes. I wouldn't want to just do it like I just did a moment ago because that would have been way too dangerous. So like I said, does anybody have any questions on airliner or flight sim, anything along those lines? Okay, so with that being said, does anybody have any questions as far as stuff you'd like to see going forward? I've got some really good stuff coming out this week. And I know some people were asking about VATSIM last time, and we'll definitely be looking at that coming forward. We'll probably start it from the GA perspective and work up to big, scary IFR perspective, kind of like we've done here. This guy's having way more fun than I am right now, but that's okay. Is there anything else folks would like to see as far as videos goes? Jermaine recommends bush flying. I have a great idea for that, actually. We're going to make it very, 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 very dangerous, but that's going to be okay. Well, did you see that landing? That was amazing. He just, DED dead. Oh, Falcon Larex asked what LNAV. That stands for lateral navigation. That's left and right. So whatever my flight plan I programmed into the GPS or FMS, it will follow that waypoint to waypoint. So there's a liveries mega pack. Okay, you're definitely going to have to... do you have like a link or something like that you could drop in the chat there so I could go ahead and go dig that up for next time? Is there anything else people like as far as videos goes? You know, I've been doing this since September now, so we're getting up like towards the hundreds here. But again, is there anything else anybody really needs help with or looking forward? I'll be doing some stuff, like I said, with VATSIM. That's going to be different. I don't think we can cheat like we usually do with a live stream with VATSIM. Those guys are pretty serious. Oh, that's awesome. This is so cool. I'm going to reset my picture here and take it again because I think this is just awesome. I feel really sorry for this guy right here. He's like, can you find another airport, guys? And the poor tug guy who has to untug us and get us in lined up with the runway, that's going to be so absurd. Oh, we got a couple more people coming in. I'm running on the APU, by the way, now, and apparently he's got the invisible jet. All right. This is so cool. What's this, another biz jet? Another one? This is so much fun. You guys make this so much excitement. Got one more video I got to shoot this afternoon, so I'll go. Whoa! Gotta go. Well, we can't end one of these flights without some kind of horrible disaster on my part, so we're going to go ahead and create a horrible disaster on my part. Set this back to hard, set this back to hard, 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 apply and save. All right, let's go back into the aircraft real quickly. Back into the aircraft. Apparently everything's off, which makes sense because I shut it down a second ago. All right, like I said, feel free to throw any questions out there or any requests for future videos while I'm getting myself ready for a collision with the ground. I know, right? Hey, I'm trying, man. Oh, geez, there's even more people here now. Ugh. That's crazy. At least nobody has a bad word in their name there, so I don't have to worry about that aspect of things. All right, I'm going to start this thing up, and I'm going to fly it quite dangerously into something painful. I don't fly into buildings, though, because that would be very inappropriate. This is so cool. I'm liking this guy right here. We got to do a thing on stunt planes at some point. Oh, yeah, that's exactly how you fly that. Yep. All right, so since there's been no requests, once my engines get spooled up, I'm going to go ahead and smack into the wall really hard. I think our next live stream is for after Christmas. Some people were talking about bush flying again. I think that's a great idea. I can think of some weird places. Well, nothing's really a weird place, but I can think of some places you probably have never flown a plane before, and we could definitely explore some of that. All right, time to do our little encore presentation here. Once my engine's finished spooling up here. Come on, come on, come on. Silly FADEC controls. Don't give me immediate engine power access if I needed it. There we go. Sorry, Mr. Airplane. It was a good run. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Alright, that's looking pretty smooth. Let's do it! Wah! This is sort of like the end of the movie Airplane when they just kind of went. Wow, this thing works really well off-road. Maybe we should do bush flying in this plane. Oh, just got cut off. Alright, landing gear up. Flaps up. I remember seeing this at an air show once. I wonder if I can do it. Uh-oh. Civilians. No, 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 no. Oh, you can do a really nice slip in this plane. I'm actually slightly impressed. No houses. No houses. Oh, boy. Highway. Highway. No, not the highway. Ah! All right, folks, have a lovely afternoon. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this, and keep an eye for the videos. If you have any questions, take a look at my YouTube community page. It's usually a pretty good place for that. Have a good one, everyone.